In no particular order, we'll start with Bethesda's long-anticipated game, Skyrim in Space. No wait, Starfield. Todd has had this game in the tank for a long time. It was first revealed in 2018, and we're finally getting our hands on it in 2023. Starfield looks to have all the trappings we can expect from a Bethesda game. High character customization, joinable factions, deep RPG elements, stale combat, and dead-eyed NPCs. I'm not sure why I ever expected anything other than vaguely improved Fallout combat. Bethesda always seems a few years behind the rest of the industry, but I think that's because they make concessions in some areas to give players a huge sandbox to explore and generous freedom of choice. And this is the biggest sandbox yet. How many planets are there, Todd?
Over 1,000 planets.
1,000 planets.
This is a number that has me both excited and horrified. Clearly they can't make 1,000 planets from scratch, so there has to be some level of procedural generation. We just don't know enough about it yet. Will they be the same planets every playthrough? Is there some random procedural generation involved? Just how big is each planet? Are we talking Skyrim map sized? Bigger? What options do we have to traverse these big spaces? How much is there actually to do in these spaces? The list goes on. But I'm cautiously optimistic about the explorative opportunities this represents, even if I have a slight fear that Starfield will largely be empty space, literally. And I don't think anyone plays Bethesda games for the combat, so I can excuse that looking a little lackluster if they deliver on their immersive role-playing experience of old. I don't think we've gotten a really solid RPG from them since Skyrim released, and then released again, and then a third time. Fallout 4 has some fans, but I think it was missing a little bit of magic, something that no other publisher can capture quite like Bethesda can. The ship customization and flight also look pretty promising. This is something brand new from Bethesda, and I'm sure many of us will lose a lot of hours trying to craft the perfect ship. And between the resource collection and base building that seem to be present in the game, Starfield has the vibes of a 3D sci-fi Stardew Valley. We all get to explore it for ourselves on September 6th of this year. Starfield has some competition this fall. Insomniac's Spider-Man 2 is supposedly coming out in September according to Tony Todd. In a tweet that has since been deleted, he said that it looks like a September release with a ramp up in marketing this August. Certainly dates I'll take with a grain of salt, but I loved the first game, so I'm hyped for it. I'm also realizing that this 1-minute teaser is literally all we have from it so far. That's absolutely wild to me if it's coming out in 4 or 5 months. The subreddit is so deprived that they've basically turned the shot of the Spider-Men standing together into a meme at this point. But that Craven voiceover, Venom at the end, chills. I don't think that Venom has had a good adaptation for like a decade, and Insomniac has clearly nailed the vibe, and I'm looking forward to whinging about the application. This is going to be one of the first fully next-gen games, coming only to the PS5, so I'm looking forward to seeing just how far Insomniac can push graphic fidelity, dynamic action-filled gameplay and cutscenes, and the DualSense controller. We can expect a lot of the technical changes from Miles Morales to continue into this sequel, and there's a lot of speculation about how the symbiote will affect gameplay, changes to Miles' powers, if you will actually play as both Spider-Men, how Peter's new mechanical arms will be introduced, or if that was just for show. There is a lot more, but until we get more information, we just don't have much to go on. Insomniac rarely disappoints, and hopefully if the game releases this fall, it will live up to and maybe even surpass their first iteration. Will we be playing this game on release?
Yes, we will.
Lately, whenever Square Enix comes up in headlines, it's because some game they've published is getting dunked on, or they're talking about NFTs. Ugh. But the next installation in the Final Fantasy series actually looks promising. Apparently 15 wasn't great, but I've never been much of a Final Fantasy fan. I latched more onto Kingdom Hearts, and that's the only reason I know any of the old characters. Final Fantasy 16 looks promising though, and part of that might just be me being excited about the full action style combat instead of the turn-based combat of old, which I'm sure longtime fans are a little less happy about. It takes place in the high fantasy and medieval inspired land of Valestia. Characters draw power from primal gods known as the Icons. We've seen in gameplay footage how different abilities draw from particular icons. The thing that really stands out in this game is the ability to actually become these icons and take part in giant kaiju-esque battles. This feels super unique, and switching between an expansive RPG, fast-paced action combat, and these giant cinematic battles should keep the game feeling fresh throughout its 35 or more hour runtime. Square has said that the game isn't fully open world, more like there are different large areas you can explore, which makes me think of something like Dragon Age Inquisition or The Witcher. They've done a great job marketing this, but I can't help but wonder if the final game will feel as good as it looks, or if it'll just be padded with unnecessary bullshit. We get to find out when the game releases on PlayStation 5 on June 22nd, then possibly on PC about 6 months after that. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I'll be honest, I didn't like Breath of the Wild as much as the rest of the planet. I maybe liked the first 20-ish hours, which is fine really, but the rest I thought was kind of empty and devoid of real content. So I'm not thrilled about this one, but everyone else is. I clearly couldn't leave it out. Tears of the Kingdom looks relatively unchanged at its core, so for anyone looking for more Breath of the Wild, it should be a delight. There are small changes to the world with the verticality of Sky Islands and new abilities like Fuse, Rewind, and Ultra Hand. There will be some kind of new puzzles and dungeons, but Nintendo is keeping things close to the chest to avoid spoiling the experience. So we really don't know much about that side of the game yet. We've yet to see anything truly innovative about this installment, and it seems like classic Zelda fans will be somewhat disappointed without some kind of fundamental change. But Nintendo might still be hiding the best parts of the game from us. Tears of the Kingdom releases on May 12th, and they've already announced an expansion pass similar to the one we got for Breath of the Wild, with new outfits, items, quests, and dungeons planned out to 2024. I'm hoping that with my expectations set kind of low, Tears of the Kingdom will surprise me and greatly exceed them. So, let's talk about Silksong. I know that at the Xbox showcase last year, they said that each game shown will be coming out within 12 months, and Silksong was one of those games. And the end of that period is June 12th, but the closer we get to that date, the less confident I am about it. We just need to hear anything to get an idea of when it might release. People have been saying soon, probably this year, for like 3 years now, so like, yeah, hopefully this year, but we just don't know. But let me tell you, I am hyped for this one. I mostly consider myself a Hollow Knight channel, and from the bit of footage we've gotten over the years, it seems like Silksong is improving on it in basically every way. The combat looks more dynamic and fast-paced. Hornet has more movement options, both because she can actually run, and she can use her needle like a grappling hook. The game is supposed to have more of a combat focus, despite there being pretty clear platforming sections. But again, the emphasis is really on keeping you mobile and having to move quickly. Between crests and tools, it seems like Hornet has a lot of build customization options, which I hope all scale with each other into the late game for great build diversity. And the game is probably going to be huge. They've already made at least 1 or 2 areas bigger than the biggest Hollow Knight areas, and with the time they've spent on the game, Team Cherry has likely only expanded on that. Silksong will almost certainly be worth the wait once we do finally get it. Hesitant date June 12th, but it could be after that too. I think it would be wise not to rest all your hope on that date. I'm noticing that basically all the games on this list are at least semi-open world games and sequels. Is this the year of the open world sequel renaissance? Or will they just reinforce all the things most of us are tired of in that genre? Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, hitting the like button goes a long way in supporting the channel. Lots more to come, so make sure to subscribe and ding that bell. Despite E3 being cancelled this year, there are supposed to be a few showcases this June, and we'll see how that changes the list.